It's your host, Sweeney, and welcome to the Friday Reload number 10. Now, first, I want to welcome all of the new guests, and we're doing this on a Google Hangout, so if it chopped the audio, too bad. So welcome to Friday Reload number 10, and I want to welcome all the new guests, all the new subscribers. We've gotten a ton of downloads this week. We've already beat out the whole month of June, and we're only 10 days here into July. I thought the 4th of July weekend was going to hurt us, and instead, I guess you guys were listening over the weekend. So really cool. Appreciate it. So with Friday Reload, if this is your first time, what we aim to do is get you caught up on what you might have missed in the week with the Friday Reload. But we cut through the fluff and we summarize the best posts, news, and videos of the week. If there's a 1,500-word post, we're going to give you what's important, what really matters. We don't want you to waste your time. That's why you can come to us for the Friday Reload, and you don't have to waste time worrying about all these new articles and blog posts and yada, yada, yada. Instead, you can focus on your business. So, first up, we have the $1,500 massive giveaway. Now, this comes to us from DigitalTriggers, and if you haven't seen, we are currently 4th in all of the business podcasts, at least in this image. And being ahead of people like Pat Flynn is a huge honor. But as of posting this, as of right now, which is Thursday evening, we've actually jumped up to the 3rd spot. So if you haven't left a review yet, we really need your help. We're aiming for that number 1 spot. We're gunning for it, and we know it's not going to be easy. So part of what we did is we created this massive giveaway, giving away different products, tickets, all these different things to promote the launch. So if you leave a review, go to this link, and you will be able to enter this giveaway. And we have some cool gifts and different things planned. So head on over to digitaltriggers.io. Check out the Friday Reload number 10, and that massive giveaway link is there at the top. Now, we also had this week 4 underutilized ways to increase revenue with Joe Troyer. So if you didn't listen to this podcast by some chance, we spoke with Joe, and he joined us and shared a few different ways that he's increasing revenue in his business. Now, speaking with Joe, he told me that last week alone, one of these tactics generated $5,000 in sales, and we didn't even promote anything. Now, the response for this has been amazing, and a few high-level business owners have actually reached out and said they really like what Joe's doing, and they do similar in their business. It's a very good interview, and I highly recommend you listen to it if you haven't yet. Next up, we have some good news. So there's always so much doom and gloom, It always seems like the media really just feeds off of the negativity out there. So we have some good news today. Total U.S. ad spending to see largest increase since 2004. So total ad investments will jump 5.3% to reach $180.12 billion, and achieving 5% growth for the first time since 2004. Now, what's leading the pack? That would be mobile advertising. So mobile ads are going to surpass radio, magazines, and newspapers this year. Now, this is not a huge surprise because, hey, you might be listening to this on your phone, and we all know how much time we're spending on mobile devices, more and more and more, especially with tablets, Kindle Fires, etc. So by the end of the year, mobile will represent nearly 10% of all media ad spending. What does that smell like to me? It smells like opportunity. It's also a good time if you want to get into the mobile space. Check out the first episode of the Triggercast, which is Mobile Revolution. One of the things we cover is 3 common mistakes with mobile. Next up, we have Confessions of a Startup. All our numbers, insights, everything. So lookback.io had a shout out to the IOs, had a very raw and honest post that really pulled back the curtain. I mean, I love these kind of posts. Now, their stats for the past year after developing Lookback, why do we care? Well, they've done $2.2 million in seed financing. They've had signups from companies like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Yahoo, and they've obtained over 30,000 user experiences uploaded. Now, in this post, they share a bunch of different little bits, and they've categorized it and whatnot. They talk about investment, growth numbers, customers, finance, mistakes, and insights. I've included some of my own personal takeaways, and I will share them with you guys now. So the investment quote that really stuck with me is they talk about Gil Dibner, and they said Gil Dibner taught me this. He said, quote, "I think of my job as having to be the one throwing stones at you to see where your house shatters. The amount of stones I need tells me if it's a castle or a glass house." End quote. So the stones are questions, and shattering house is a founder's inability to answer them. So a mediocre VC will ask a lot of obvious questions, but they're not going to actually dig in and find your weakness. A great VC is going to ask insightful and hard questions, and they generally will expose more of the weakness of your plan. So the other investment lesson that they learned, so to kind of parallel from that, oh, and they did mention that it only took them like 3 questions to kind of have their glass house shatter, and they still went on to raise $2.2 million. So don't let this upset you. There are other investment lessons that they learned. Don't go for the biggest fish first. Meet lower profile people first. Learn the process, and then make your mistakes and iterate to the top, which makes a lot of sense. You know, work from the bottom up. If you go for the top of the line, I mean, it's the same thing with this podcast. Am I going to reach out to Pat Flynn tomorrow or Tim Ferriss and ask if they want to do an interview? No, I'm going to work my way up through the chain. Now, also, the mindset of a VC is go big or go home. So you need to convince yourself and them that you're going to be the world's largest company, or you won't get an investment. Now, what helped their growth is they focused on building a beautiful product, and that helped them spread it very quickly. They focused on a fully functional and interactive demo on the front page that explains their value offering instantly. Thought that was pretty cool, so they point towards having a beautiful product and the demo really driving it home. Now, they learned to spend little money fast. So dare to use the invested money to speed things up. You can quickly spend a lot of money if you're not careful, but don't blink when discussing smaller expenses, just go. Once an investment is in, your time and your energy are suddenly the most limited assets of the company. And we're going to speak about this a little bit later in one of our other subjects on productivity. And then they also learned to stick to your core. Having a single irreplaceable core feature has allowed them to keep focused on maximizing its potential and discovering great use cases for the product. Also, explore solutions. Don't build features. Now, next up, we have Mr. Quicksprout, the content marketing king. And we have quite the doozy of a headline. What's sending 62 million emails, we can round it up to 63 million emails, taught me about content marketing. And this one's pretty long, but I can kind of summarize it for you pretty quickly. Emails are the biggest driver for quality traffic, comments, social media shares, and account for 44% of the blog's revenue. So those are pretty impressive stats. Now, when it comes to getting these emails, pop-ups account for 81% of the emails collected for Quicksprout's blog. His sidebar opt-in is the second most effective, and then a least aggressive option, if you don't want to go too strong, is the hello bar, which still increased his email collection rate by roughly 28%. You will notice on our bar that we do utilize a pop-up now, and we have 2 different kind of sidebar opt-ins. And if anybody ever wants to chat, sidebar opt-ins in general, pop-ups, hello bars, I love this stuff. So reach out at DIGTRIG, and I can help you out, give you some solutions, and we can come up with something if you need help. So next up, why conversations is the key to increasing Facebook conversions study. So Unbalanced brings the meat here. They have a nice big meaty post, and I like because they're quoting a study here. They end up using a study to kind of prove their point. So we all know organic reach on Facebook is not what it used to be. So what's the antidote? Well, Unbalanced makes the case for interaction. It says that interactions between people are the primary driver of conversions on social networks. Now, 3 important findings from a scientific study conducted by the University of Singapore have shown that 1, user-generated content had an overall strong impact on conversions, than marketer-generated content. 2, information-rich interactions increase sales whether the interactions were positive or negative, direct or indirect. And then 3, marketer-generated content only had a measurable effect on driving consumer purchases when it was direct. So content should act as a vehicle for user interaction. Think of marketer-generated content as a vehicle to create interaction between users. So the content should either aim to get shared in order to expand the reach, or it should get commented on in order to increase your conversion rate, in order to get those conversations, those interactions. Now, the dilemma that we have here, in-depth content retains an audience. Bite-sized visual content gets shared. So this is kind of the difference between selling sugar and selling steak, I guess you could say. You know, you can sell them on these little bite-sized things, and that gets shared, but the steak is what actually is going to make the sales. So you have to find the right balance. Now, one of the things that Unbalanced recommends is embedding bite-sized Facebook posts within a blog post. Now, this is an interesting strategy that I haven't really heard mentioned before. I was going to try with this post, but I didn't see it making sense. But it's something I'd like to do in the future and see how it works out. So in summary, each piece of content you create should be to start as many conversations as possible. And now it is tool time. So I came across a few different cool tools and software this week, and all of them are free. So it's tool time, and I'd like to preface this by giving a shout out to Product Hunt. They have a lot of new, cool, interesting software, startups, and other things coming out, and that's where I tend to find out about new things. So the first one is mailtrack.io, and they advertise themselves as getting the double check from WhatsApp on your Gmail. So if you haven't used WhatsApp or if you haven't used BlackBerry Messenger, you might not know this, but when someone reads your message, you know, it puts a check, I believe, for delivered and a check that shows that they read it. So this does the same feature and applies it within your Gmail messages. Does it for free, easy to add, lightweight. Pretty awesome. I mean, if you're in any kind of business where you're doing some sort of sales cycle, or even if you're following up with people, I can definitely see how this would be hugely beneficial. You don't have to sit around wondering, did they read this yet? Did they read this yet? Should I follow up with them? Instead, now you know, and knowledge is power. Next up, we have Social Bro. So Marketing Land posted this, and Social Bro recently added a free plan for Twitter analytics and management. So if you are under fewer than 5,000 Twitter contacts, you can find out things such as best time to tweet and who your most influential followers are, as well as other statistics and stats. If you're above 5,000, then you can probably afford their $15 a month or whatever it is plan. Now next we have what might be the Google Keyword Tool Killer. And this is called keywordtool.io. Great name, right? So what they do is they generate up to 750 suggestions for every keyword. Now the way it does this is by using Google autocomplete to generate relevant long-tail keywords. If you're wondering why does autocomplete matter so much, well, Google themselves say it best. Autocomplete predictions are automatically generated by an algorithm without any human involvement based on a number of objective factors, including how often past users have searched for a term. Once again, it's another free tool. So very awesome, very interesting tool. I ran it by my SEO guy. He liked it. I ran it by my AdWords guy. He liked it. It's free. Definitely worth checking out. Now next up we have the email marketing checklist. So this comes to us by Pat Flynn, who currently we're beating in the business section, and I'm extremely proud to say that, and I say that with as much respect as I possibly can for Pat Flynn. And so this email marketing checklist, he's going over how many of these 10 things are you actually doing. Now, email opt-ins, I've listened to one of his episodes where he really goes in depth on it. You've heard me talk about them. I've talked about them in this podcast. Email opt-ins are huge. Email opt-ins are huge. They're arguably the most important part of any blog or content marketing strategy, and potentially any kind of digital marketing strategy in general. So Pat walks us through this 10-part checklist, I'm going to give you the headlines and some tidbits on it. He personally scored an 8 out of 10 on it. Now, the one thing I do think it's kind of missing is a few ways on how to kind of get more emails. But so, for example, micro lead magnets, what I call them, and that's a specific lead magnet targeted towards a specific blog post. So really getting micro. Anyways, let's move on to the checklist. So number 1, opt-in forms on your most popular pages. Hint, don't guess, use your analytics. Number 2, a 2-step opt-in process. And this is typically done through lead pages. Number 3, a custom thank you / please confirm page. And I'm actually, hey, let's have some fun with this. Opt-in forms on your most popular pages. So do we have that right now? We should, because we have our sidebar and we have our popover, which shows up on every page. So right now I'm 1. Number 2, a 2-step opt-in process. Our opt-in monster doesn't have it, but our sidebars do. So we're going to count that one. So we're at 2. Number 3, a custom thank you / please confirm page after clicking subscribe. Yes, I have that. I actually set up a personalized video for a little bit, and right now the other thank you page we're using is customized. So we're going to count that as 3. Number 4, a custom thank you / success page after clicking link in email to confirm. And now we use a 1-step opt-in process, so we actually don't have the double confirm. So I'm going to count this one because we don't have it, if that makes sense. So we'll count that as 4. Now next up is 5 is a custom already subscribe page. Don't have that. So there's 1. There's the first tick. Number 6, a killer first email. This is something I'm going to admit I'm working on making better, and I would argue that it's not just about having a killer first email. It's about having a killer sequence, a killer first week, and really bringing them in. So there's another knock. So now we're still at 4. Number 7, scannable content and isolated links. Now, according to one of his buddies, Greg Hickman of Mobile Mix, 65% of emails are being read from a mobile device. That's pretty huge. I want to say that we have pretty scannable content and isolated links, so I'm going to put that at 5. Number 8, remind people when and why they subscribed. I'm going to say we could maybe be better at that. I mean, what do you think, viewers? You guys let me know. But I'm not going to count that one. I'm going to say that we could be better at that. Number 9, apply a global text snippet. So this is a global call to action from Aweber. I guess, okay, so it's basically a standard in any email he sends out, and I guess he can kind of change it in some easy way. I'm not huge on it. Seems interesting. I'm going to have to read more on it. Don't have that. And then the last is welcome and encourage replies. Now this is something I really try hard for. I really do make an effort for, so we'll put it at 6. So that leaves us with 6 out of 10. So hey, everyone can improve. Next up, this is something I've been noticing around the web. Let's call it a Sweeney observation, if you will. Mobile number opt-ins. Now, how often before have you seen a cool new app while on your computer and you kind of forget about it later, or forever? I mean, hey, I might be a little dramatic, but we see so many new apps every day, new software, new startups. I mean, and I don't want to go and run and grab my phone and interrupt my day every single time I see a new app that seems interesting. So what I saw on yix.io page was the available on the App Store, but then they also had the enter your mobile number and get a link. And I love that. I absolutely love this. We know how big email opt-ins are, and this is just an extension of it in a different platform. It's a call to action. It's capturing some sort of lead information. So you can enter your mobile phone number, and then you get a link sent to as a text message. So I mean, this is kind of the email opt-in of mobile marketing. I get that link. Now I can easily download the app on my own time. I'm not going to forget about it. Whenever I end up checking my messages, I have a new message, so I'm going to see it again. And they can even use your phone number, depending upon how they have their terms set up. They can use the phone number in a custom audience to remarket to you via Facebook. So there you go. So if you have any kind of mobile app This is a must-do, in my opinion. Now, the next one, actually, this kind of touches on what we were talking about a little bit earlier as far as personal productivity. This comes to us from James Widmore. Now, James seems like a pretty cool guy. He's kind of known for YouTube and online video. He always seems to be smiling, and he just seems like a happy guy. I haven't met him personally, have friends that are friends with him. Seems like a good guy. Anyways, why I buy my toilet paper on Amazon and 7 other personal productivity hacks. So this is what I really call thinking like an entrepreneur. He's not worried to spend money to save time. He realizes how important his time is and his energy. So he posts some of his favorite productivity hacks, and a lot of these revolve around outsourcing his personal tasks in different ways. And he personally says that he's not focused on saving time so much as conserving energy. He had his personal aha moment while listening to a podcast by Tim Ferriss, who said being busy is a form of laziness, lazy thinking and indiscriminate action. Being busy is most often used as a guise for avoiding the few critically important but uncomfortable actions. So, point being that we check email, we check Facebook, we do these things because we're scared. We know the big thing we should do, the big thing we should get done today, but we don't want to do it. We're scared. So, this busyness is a form of laziness. So I have a picture here on the blog of his outsourced cooking. So he has a personal chef and prepared meals. And I know what you're thinking, personal chef. Wow, if I was rich, I could have a personal chef too. There's a lot of new, healthier options that are out there that do deliver, and they're not too expensive. Or, I mean, nowadays, go on Craigslist. I have a buddy who, Tim Castleman, Two Drink Tim, who hired a younger lady for, I believe, $10 an hour. And she goes, she buys his meals, she cooks for him, she does all the prep, I'm assuming she cleans, and boom, she's happy, she's got a full day of work and gets paid well, and now he has his meals done for the week and he's eating healthier. So he has some other recommendations, kind of usual recommendations, but he has a few outside of the box, and overall I think this is a pretty good place to start. So check it out, and hopefully you'll find a thing or two to outsource. Now, after that, we have the triple-headed monster of headlines. So this is a headline triple header. So we have 3 great posts coming to us from Conversion XL, Quick Sprout, and Crazy Egg. We all know how important headlines are. And Neil Patel recently stated that he's spending 30 minutes thinking about each new post title. And he said that in response to having lower traffic numbers over the past month. I believe it was the month of June. So now he's spending 30 minutes thinking about each new post title and spending more time crafting a better headline. So let's craft better headlines with these next 3 posts. So the first post, and this is our meatiest one, we really like this one, Conversion XL, man, these guys are growing on me. 5 characteristics of high converting headlines. So let's break these down. The first is they have numbers. So we have a few different graphs from Conductor here, and it shows that numbers do the best headline preference-wise at 36%. The following is reader addressing at 21%. Also, they mentioned that odd numbers have a 20% higher click-through rate. Now, my explanation for this, which is not a great one, but this is what I've been thinking about this, and what I thought was, I feel like a number kind of forces you to continue reading because you hear the number and then it kind of just generates this of what response. You know, you hear a number and you kind of get this blank in the rest of your head and you want to keep reading to fill in that blank. You know, it's kind of a teaser, it's kind of a hook in ways. So the next characteristic is they have between 5 to 9 or 16 to 18 words. Now I've talked about this before with Nishant, how 7 is the magic number. And this is legitimately based on the magic number 7, which came from a paper which essentially stated the number of objects an average human being can hold in working memory is 7 plus or minus 2. If you want a good example, how long are phone numbers? 7 numbers. Obviously, yes, area codes, but area codes are not the hard part of phone numbers. And this the other thing that they mention is a lot of times people tend to read the beginning, say the first three words, and the last 3 words of a headline. This has to do with how we read. We actually kind of read by taking little pictures of the image, if that makes sense. And so we kind of take this picture and we see the outside, take this picture and see the inside or the beginning. So there's a little bit more food there for you. Now next up, number 3 is they are negative. So negative headlines perform better as seen in this chart below. So positive, always or best, performs at minus 29%. No superlative performs at the industry standard, whatever you want to call it, the control. And negative keywords such as never or worse perform at plus 30%. So there you go, negative keywords work. Now number 4, they have 2 parts. They use the example of headlines and subheadlines. And a good headline alone is not enough, it needs help. Include a subheadline to boost clarity. So the example they use is Neil Patel, do you want more traffic? And then it goes on to say, hey, I'm Neil Patel, I'm determined to make a business in Barcelona. I think it uses whatever demographic you're in. So in business in Orlando successful, my only question is, will it be yours? And then number 5, they are very, very clear. Now one more graph, an example which shows the characteristic pretty clearly. Let me get on down to it. So a number performs at a 36%, reader addressing performs at 21%. So the clearer a headline is, the better it performs. Now, the 5 headline types that were tested in this above study, I will give you the number and the reader addressing one because they were the top 2 performers. Number, 30 ways to make drinking tea more delightful. Reader addressing, ways you need to make drinking tea more delightful. Next up, we have headlines for maximum conversion, tips, templates, and tactics. So we're actually going to head back on over to the blog because my favorite part of this was that they gave you 9 different templates that you can use to create your own headlines. So I think that's the best part. Obviously, check it out if you like this and it's still a good post, but that's really where the meat is. So these 9 popular templates, I'm going to go through them real quick. Number 1, are you looking for a way to save over $10,000 off the price of a new car? Number 2, how to. Example, how to solve the AdWords puzzle in just 30 minutes. Number 3, secrets of. Example, secrets of the world's most successful pest control business owners. Number 4, give me XXX minutes. Example, give me 10 minutes and I will show you how to save thousands on home repairs. Number 5, XXX ways to. 6 ways to improve your child's table manners by dinner time today. Number 6, the news headline. Example, new technology from Silicon Valley makes it easier to grow grass. Number 7, the testimonial. Example, finally, I found the bed I've been looking for. Number 8, the offer headline. Example, 33% off every product in the store. Number 9, the free headline. Get a free engine with a set of new wiper blades. Now after that, we have what makes a good headline. And this is from Neil Patel, and it's a big old whammy of an infographic. And it's pretty nice. I do like it. Originally I was going to post it, but I think we hit it pretty good with the characteristics, and we hit it pretty good with the templates. So if you like infographics and if you're still digging the headlines, head on over and check it out. Run through it. I mean, it's funny just going through this real quick. Short and sweet. So for example, 7 words. You and your headlines use interesting adjectives. Use negative wording. Use numbers. Personalize it. Why headlines fail. So I mean, it really kind of just recaps what we talked about in characteristics, but it does look quite pretty. Now, for our very last post of the Friday reload, we have the guide to Facebook's ad targeting, and this comes to us from Kiwa. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. And they provide this big old beauty of an infographic, and it offers information on all the choices available to marketers targeting on Facebook. Really like this the kind of thing. I mean, it just makes things so clear. And if you've ever had, you know, any kind of trouble or kind of confused over, hey, what kind of targeting can I do and what are the options, and maybe you haven't dug in Facebook that much, this is a really nice way to just kind of look over it all, and maybe you can start writing down, okay, I know this one is good, I know this is, this one might work for my business, and you can probably map out the ones that matter the most to you and not have to dig and go crazy looking for them. So they also talk about filters. They kind of give an example here at the bottom. Not going to go into it too much because it's kind of a weird, confusing Venn diagram. So that about closes it out for the Friday reload. I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope you guys had a good weekend last time. I want to say I appreciate all the feedback I've been getting via email and comments, people reaching out on Twitter and such. It really means a lot to me. So if you haven't yet, please take the chance to leave a review. Just hang up, delete this episode, and go leave a review. And if you have left a review, I want to thank you for being an awesome person. So this weekend we might have another mini episode or two, so watch out for that. Keep your eyes open. Either way, we will be back on Tuesday with Kevin Davis, who is going to talk some Facebook ads. And this guy is a genius. I mean, I think using the word genius maybe doesn't even give him his due. This guy is incredibly brilliant when it comes to paid traffic in general. Definitely worth listening to. All right, guys, I appreciate everyone joining me again, and girls, and I hope to see you again this weekend or on Tuesday.